Hello and welcome to a quick message from Zanette Knits. One second. I've just done something silly on my computer. But yeah, we are approaching an important event. That is a new pattern release tomorrow. And if you're watching a recording, hello. Tomorrow is the 5th of July, which is when we will be releasing the Wildcat Sweater. So I thought I'd give you a quick walkthrough on all the details about this pattern as a introduction. So what I will be talking about is the inspiration, the gauge and needles, the yarn and alternatives, the sizing, construction, techniques, and possible modifications and how easy it is to make them. So yeah, I don't have the sweater with me. It's in a different country, but I have the swatch. So yeah, this is the sweater. Just replace all this this other thing going on with a all over animal print. And the inspiration, I think it's there were many reasons why I made this sweater. First one is that I really wanted to make something asymmetric after a few of very symmetrical color work garments, and I had finally cracked the color work in my experience, and so I think it was time for me to attempt that. And I also wanted to do an all-over color work, not like, for example, what I'm wearing, it's just in the yoke. Okay, well, bad example, there's also some in the body and cuffs, but I wanted a truly all-over, and I think that this sort of pattern lends itself well to that kind of project. And it was the tiger year that when I started this project. It was the tiger year was approaching. So yeah, I started it in 2021, and then I got stuck being pregnant and having baby, and all sorts of new ideas entered my head that I found more exciting, because you'll have to agree, there's a lot of color work going on and it's the same thing over and over again. Plus, I don't know how good your memory is, but I struggled a little bit to memorize the pattern, so I had to really follow the chart. And that was, I couldn't keep that up for a long time. So yeah, in the end, it was a bit stuck. I had to put it away in a safe place. And only after a few other knitters inquiring quite a number of times, I got it pulled out and asked my friend Liene, who actually helped me finish it. So she completed the body. Hello to Chile from UK. So yeah, the inspiration was, I just really wanted something animal print all over, and that was it. And I picked these colors from, the yarn is from the Knitting Shed, and this is Slubby Sock. It's got little bits in it that are, but I don't think they have this base anymore, but they have this colorway. And in this base that I use for main color is a merino silk singles, and this is lime mortar and this is bark, and I really loved how these colors go together. Theme going on here. And yeah, I wasn't after any sort of like a statement piece, but then during the test I saw some test knitters choosing really bright colors, and it creates a stunning, bold wardrobe item that way as well. So yeah, that's the inspiration. The gauge is actually, despite this being a fingering weight yarn, the gauge is rather loose. It is 24 stitches and 30 rows in 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches. I think if you wanted a bit of denser fabric, this is very, very drapey, my preferred way, but I think if you wanted a denser fabric, you could use sport weight yarn. And I have seen some gorgeous samples where the main color is a neutral, but the contrast color is color changing. And those look really good. Yeah, so you could use fingering weight for a very drapey one, and sport weight for a more forgiving, because I think using fingering weight at this gauge sometimes created slightly distorted stitches, and it wasn't always so forgiving. So yeah, I think I would probably go with sport weight for this sweater next time, but fingering is an option. And that is the gauge, and I used 3.25 millimeter needles for the main fabric, and I used 2.75 millimeter for the ribbing on the neckband and the cuffs and the hem. That is US 3 and US 2 for those who use US needle sizes. As I said, yarn is either fingering weight or sport weight, depending on how drapey or dense warm you want the fabric to be. Regarding sizing, so as usual, it comes in 8 sizes, and there's very little positive ease. So you could, if you want a roomier sweater, you could go a size up and it would produce a more positive ease. But the finished chest circumference is from 81.5 centimeters, that is 32 3/4 inches, all the way up to 151.5 centimeters, which is 60 inches and 3/4. So yeah, 8 sizes, fairly size inclusive, all over color work project. Now we're on the construction, and I will. So it is a top down, but it starts here at the base of the neckband with, I believe, a provisional cast on, and as we work the neckband all the way to the top, to create a double folded neckband, we're working some fairly invisible decreases. So it starts with a 2x3 ribbing, and at the top it's 2x1. So you'll work some decreases, and then you do a fold line where all the stitches are purled and go backwards. So on the inside of the sweater, you will add the stitches back with increases. And when you meet at the base again, you just simply knit the provisional cast on stitches with the live stitches on the needles, and you start the color work yoke. Oh, sorry, not yet. There's a bit of short row shaping to raise the back, but after that you start the yoke. And as a lot of the increases are already done in the neckband, there aren't that many in the actual yoke. And once you've finished increasing for the yoke, there is this 24x20 pattern repeat that is just repeated all throughout the sweater, including the sleeves. So yeah, if you have good memory, you'd probably memorize it and could knit without looking at the chart. If your memory is like mine, you probably need to look at the chart throughout the project. But it is those 24x20 stitches that create this seamless wallpaper effect for this pattern. Yeah, it's worked seamlessly, and so as usual, dividing for body and sleeves and working the sleeves and body separately. It's worked top to down, which means that the length of the body and sleeves is easily adjusted. Before I talk about techniques, I can probably tell you that the most frequent modification that was done during testing was shortening the sleeves. I think because it's such a summery feel to this this project. People were making it in summer, for summer, and opted for a short sleeve. Or perhaps secretly, I don't really like doing color work on sleeves because I find the circumference too small for comfortable knitting for a long time. So if you have the whole sleeve in color work, it's quite an undertaking, personally, I find. So I will be honest with you, I did have some psyching up to do to get myself through both of the sleeves, and I had a long break between the two sleeves. So yes, I can completely understand why you might opt for a short sleeve version, and it's still a fun accessory to throw over any long sleeve top, or even without anything underneath. That's the most important, the most popular modification. With regards to techniques, so it does have some interesting techniques as well. I already mentioned there's provisional cast on at the base of the neckband. It uses knit increases, which should be probably familiar for most. Then there are some quite long floats, so I think the longest section in one color in some of the rows in the pattern is about 15 stitches. So that's worth noting, that the floats in the main color, in the contrast color, can be quite long, and it will require trapping. There is some short row shaping, so short rows is a required technique. The pattern does explain the short row used in my sample, which is Japanese short rows, and it has videos for all of the techniques. And also it uses a stretchy bind off in case you make it very long and want the ribbing to stretch over hips that are usually a bit wider than bust for most of us. And the stretchy bind off allows for easy way to do that. That is, but as I said, the pattern includes all the instructions for all the techniques used and some video links as well. It also offers two types of charts. So there's a chart where the main color is light and the contrast color is dark, such as in my sample. But there's also an alternative chart that is where the main color is dark and the contrast color is light, for those of you who want a moodier version of this sweater. And both are accessible on an online link with in a PDF version that can be enlarged to whatever size you need for easier reading. And I think that is basically it. So yeah, thank you very much for saying that I'm talented. I just love what I do, and I'm really happy to see people engaging in test knits and then making things from my pattern. It's appreciated so much. What else was I going to say? I was going to talk about modifications, but I already talked about the sleeve modification. I think that it could be easy to transform this from a double neckband to a single layer neckband. You would just have to start with casting on less stitches, that is the stitch count that is provided in the pattern at the neckband fold line, and simply just work the increases. Yeah, I think if you're low on main color yarn, I think that could be an option, but personally I really love double neckband, the look and feel of a double neckband, so I am using that in as many projects as I can, especially for fingering weight yarn where it doesn't create too bulky of a result. Thank you so much for all the great things that you guys are saying in comments. Each pattern is unique. I don't feel like that sometimes, but thank you. I'm glad to hear you believe that, and that I'm an amazing designer. I try. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want this to be too off topic, which is the pattern that's coming out tomorrow, 5th of July. If you're a subscriber, there will be an email with a special exclusive discount for on the pattern for the first Yule week and something. So watch out for that. If you're not a subscriber, there is still a little bit of time to become one. Simply go on to our website zanetteknits.com and enter your email in the stay tuned email box, and it will be there for you. Other than that, I think that is it for now. And I'm very, very glad to have had you join my live, or if you've been watching this as in a recording, thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you make your own Wildcat sweater. Bye!